Hi and welcome back to another episode of my Masters of the Universe Vintage Memorabilia Tour through my collection. Today we want to have a brief look at the comics which were published in Germany back in the 80s. Let's start off with comics I really loved, which were pretty much released early in the 80s when the comic line was released. The Interpart comics, who were released individual or as a collection, which is this episode or this magazine is a collection. It's called Super Auswahlband, which means collector's edition, with 68 color pages, and it has some great artwork. I guess I'm gonna give you a quick idea of how the artwork looks. It was 4 marks, which is about €2 today, and back then it wasn't cheap. And you can see great inking and penciling, very mature stories, not like too much kid stuff. I love that aspect. Great visualization of the transformation scene. Just some great artwork in general. Sorceress, Winged Rider, Triclops, Man-at-Arms. Great stuff. Beautiful drawn Merman, Zodiac, Beastman, they're all there. So, and here you have a great character portrayal, similar to the back art of the toys, very much like that, reading all over the storyline and the way they were drawn. The story would run about, I don't know, 10 pages, and basically you see the vehicles, evil warriors. Funny enough, He-Man having an acquaintance to the Conan concept, that they actually had an advert about the Conan series in there. Here's another story. You see what I mean about not too much kids attribution. I mean, this is kind of spooky stuff, at least if you're like, I don't know, 6, 7, 8-year-old. And you have dead skulls, skeletons rising and stuff like that, and fighting He-Man. Very much love that. What I also wanted to show in the comic was some great advertisement which they were doing back then, and this was about the German audio tapes, the Hörspiele cassettes, which were released in Germany, and they were huge. They were like very popular. Great audio tapes from Europa, and they do great stuff. Let's come to another comic which was released, I think, later. Yeah, I see it here, 1988, from Ehapa, and it was, I think it was a monthly thing, and they released it. Great artwork, I think. Actually, you can see they promoted the toys heavily. Great photos. And a Master's Fun box with a battle cat and a panther in that plastic case. Just priceless. The drawing was also fun. I didn't like it that much as the Interpart comics, which I presented earlier in the video, but as well, it was still decently drawn. You can see more cleared up. You have the Horde already in there, was a late edition, so you have Multibot in there, and great characters which were released later. Here you have the visualization of the transformation scene, knowing this. Great stuff. You have Leech and then Dragstore, also an advert. I always love to see those adverts because they give you an idea how things were back then. And you see a coloring book. You would listen to the audio tape, and while you were doing that, you would actually take pencils and color it. Well, that's what you did in the 80s, kids. No YouTube and stuff. You were listening to stuff. A great poster with all edition. There was a poster included, and Superman adverts. Quickly go through. Oh, we have a poster of the movie, live action movie. We have the Blaster Hawk, so you can see it was a late thing. The Doppelganger, a great storyline. Faker released, Faker affiliated storyline. Quickly go through it. Yeah, and then we have the preview to the next edition. Nicely done. And we won't spend too much time on that. Later on, when the new Adventure series came, they quickly bought out, released a comic about that also. 1989. Well, I'm not a big fan of the new Adventures series, so I think what I'm showing is you can already see, I think, like with the toy line as well, how much of that love, of that dedication to detail, which I think kind of got lost in the new Adventure series, you can also see that in the comic. It's not like great drawing and penciling, it's done. I bought some of those comics, but then, like with the toy line, was quickly out of the whole concept of New Adventures He-Man. Well, that's it about the comics. Hope you liked the tour. Hope you got some great impressions about comics that were released in Germany. Let me know in the comment section below. What do you think? What kind of comics maybe were released in your country? I'm happy to read. And thanks for watching it, and looking forward to seeing you in the next episode. Bye bye.